After a disappointing semi-final loss and a fourth-place finish last year, Sweden is back and hungry in Finland. A high-scoring affair against Canada in their final pre-tournament game proves they are contenders again.
And Canada will hang on and win it 7-6 on a wild night in Helsinki.
Today, Leafs prospect William Nylander leads the heavily favored Swedes into battle against Switzerland. Next on TSN. Sun up or just about to come up in most parts of Canada, but already dark in Helsinki, Finland, where it's 5 p.m. for Sweden versus Switzerland. Michael Nylander, who is leading the American League in scoring, playing today and playing on the same line as his brother Alex for a talented Swedish team here on day one. How you doing, Canada? And welcome to the opening day of the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship. James Duthie and Bob McKenzie about 4 hours away from Canada, USA, but we start with Sweden and Switzerland. After a string of 3 straight trips to the gold medal game, the Swedes left Toronto last year with a bitter taste of a bronze medal game loss to Slovakia. But this year, 12 returning players, a ton of skill, and the magic ability to shoot pucks through nets, as we saw in their pre-tournament game against Team Canada. To get you ready for it, Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro.
James, when you look to the stars of the Swedish team, you look to 2 guys who play in North America, William Nylander in the American League and his brother Alex in the OHL.
Well, we saw the other night in the exhibition game against Canada. This is an offensively heavy team. William Nylander is going to be the leader for the Swedes. He's had a terrific start in the American Hockey League, 34 points in 27 games. His brother Alexander is a draft-eligible player, one of the top-end talents for the 2016 draft. And when I think about the Swedes and the expectations that their country has upon them, which are high expectations, a lot of it will be tied to William Nylander. Alex will be more a support role.
And their dad, Michael Nylander, of course, had a tremendous career in the National Hockey League and internationally. Sweden won the meeting last year on New Year's Eve 5-1 over the Swiss.
Yeah, last year was strange because most years the Swiss give at least 1 or 2 contenders in this tournament fits. Didn't really happen last year. They came 9th, which was a disappointing result. But they do have a top 10 NHL pick who's dangerous all over the ice.
Got to be Timo Meier, the San Jose Shark first-round pick, 9th overall last year in the National Hockey League entry draft. He's the captain of this Swiss team. He'll be playing on a line with 2 great hockey names, Suter and Kessler. No, not those guys, but Pius Suter and Tino Kessler on the #1 line for the Swiss team. It's going to be interesting. Right now, Meier plays for the Halifax Mooseheads of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, but they're in a rebuilding year. There's a very good chance he won't be going back to the Mooseheads when all is said and done. There's been a lot of talk he could get traded to the St. John Sea Dogs, or one of the contending teams in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. But for now, his focus is on trying to upset a Swedish team that's a lot deeper and has a lot more weapons. I know we talk a lot about the Nylander brothers, and rightfully so, but that line with Adrian Kempe, who plays for the Ontario Reign, LA's farm team in the American Hockey League, is also really dangerous.
I know at this tournament we also have a nation full of scouts. These are 2 of the teams that Canada will play in group play in the tournament. Again, after the Americans today, they have Denmark, Switzerland, and Sweden on New Year's Eve. Those are your games. The other game underway today, and the other side, Russia and the Czech Republic, are tied at 1 in the 3rd period of play. This is the first game at the Ice Hall while you're watching Canada in about 4 hours' time. First up, it is Sweden and Switzerland right after this with Gord and Ray.
The 2016 IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship from Helsinki, Finland is brought to you by Esso. The Esso brand has fueled Canada's love of hockey for over 30 years. By RBC, let nothing get in the way of your someday. By Nike, official gear of Canada's national hockey team. And by TELUS, the biggest fans of Canada's biggest game. The 2016 IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship from Helsinki, Finland is brought to you by Chevrolet's new Power of Play hockey program.
Your starting goaltenders brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Linus Soderstrom, the only goalie in the tournament who played every minute for his team last year for Sweden. He got pulled in that pre-tournament game against Canada. Gauthier Desclous played 5 games for Switzerland last year, including the 2 relegation games where they beat Germany to avoid being relegated. Gord Miller, Ray Ferraro have your call.
Thank you, James, and welcome to Helsinki on the opening day of the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship. And a great day here at the Ice Hall. He's got Sweden and Switzerland to start, followed by Canada and the United States. And for the Swedes, in his 3rd year as the head coach, is Rikard Gronberg, also signed to a new contract as the head coach and general manager of their national men's team. So he'll lead the Swedes at the World Cup next fall. And for Switzerland, John Foot, in his 2nd year as the national junior coach, played his college hockey at Princeton University. Last year, Switzerland narrowly avoided relegation. It was Germany that went down. So the Swiss are back in the top pool this year. Referees are Andras Ansons from Latvia and Vladimir Pesina from the Czech Republic. The linesman from Finland and the United States. So round robin play continues through New Year's Eve. The top 4 teams in each 5-team group advance to the quarterfinals. The bottom 2 will play off in the relegation series. Latvia, by the way, won promotion to the top group next year in Toronto and Montreal. Germany, relegated last year, finished 3rd in that group. So the Swiss in red fire it in. And that's Jonas Siegenthaler who fires it around. And it's brought ahead by William Lagesson. The Swedes are shorthanded today. Gustav Forsling, one of their top defensemen, not in the lineup, was slightly shaken up against Canada. He has not been added to their roster as of yet. Now a breakaway for the Swiss. Tino Kessler in, and he's turned away by Linus Soderstrom. So a breakaway less than 30 seconds of the opening period, and Soderstrom stops it. Now Kessler puts down that shot from Pia Suter, goes wide. Back in front it goes, and Kessler can't reach it. William Nylander brings it back for the Swedes. In the middle of a change, and a sloppy one at that. The Swiss are hollering for a too-many-men penalty.
They were pretty lucky, the Swedes were, on that play. They had actually less men on the ice, but 3 of them were within about 1.5 feet.
Dennis Malga, number 13, goes in on the forecheck for the Swiss. And there's Alex Nylander, number 19, plays for Mississauga in the Ontario Hockey League. His dad, Michael, an assistant coach there with the Steelheads. Dmytro Timashov for William Nylander. He got blasted down there by Noah Rod, and Nylander quickly hopped back to his feet. Dmytro Timashov back at the point. Gabriel Carlson fires around, bouncing puck in the feet of William Nylander. He shoots and scores. And the Swedes take the lead less than 90 seconds in the opening period as William Nylander makes his presence felt right away.
Well, the Swiss came out ready from the drop of the puck. They won the first draw. They got a forecheck and then a sloppy middle ice play as Lagesson loses his man in the middle of the ice. A breakaway turned aside by Kessler as Soderstrom makes a save, and one that he needed after getting hooked the other night against Canada. A bit of a misplay behind the net. The puck bounces around, and William Nylander, who jumped behind the net initially, is going to come around to the front. Alex Nylander keeps the puck alive. The puck bounces to William Nylander, and the Swedes' expected offensive leader gets the first goal here at the Ice Hall in this tournament.
Nylander leads the American Hockey League with 34 points. He scored 14 times in 27 games for Toronto's American Hockey League affiliate. Picked 8th overall in the 2014 draft. And there's an icing call against the Swedes in the early going.
Well, Alex Nylander got thumped at the blue line by Noah Rod, and it looked to me at that, that early juncture that, wow, the Swiss will come ready to play. The Swedes are a little dozy here. Well, there's a misplay behind the net. The goaltender can't get to it. Desclaux leaves the rebound, and William Nylander circles back from behind the net, back into the scoring area, scoops up the loose puck, and beats Desclaux 90 seconds in.
And post for the Swiss, plays it down to Calvin Turcoff. Turcoff, who plays for Kelowna in the Western Hockey League, plays that back at the point, but Helmer can't hold it. Puts in Desclaux, a returnee from last year. Played in 5 games for the Swiss in the World Junior Championship, including both the relegation games, which they won against Germany. Poked in now by Turkov. The puck loose behind the Swedish goal. Bank back at the point. Four can't reach it as it's chipped out by Anton Carlson. So Alex Nylander gets the assist for the goal by his older brother William at 1:21 to give Sweden a 1-0 lead. So much talk about the drafted players, of course, in this tournament, but scouts, especially this year, talking about the number of top-end draft-eligible prospects who are playing in this World Junior Championship.
Certainly, you've got Austin Matthews from the United States. We'll see later on against Canada. We've got Alex Nylander here. There's a couple of Finnish kids that are likely in the top 5 or 6 of the draft.
Prive for Schmidley. Works it back in front. The pass just out of the reach of Chris Eglin. And now a crease violation called against the Swiss. And the face-off will come outside. So Rikard Gronberg's team finished 4th last year after winning medals in the 3 previous years to that. Silver in 2013 and 2014 after gold in 2012, also 4th in 2011. Last time the Swedes lost to the Swiss was in January of 1993 rather. 2003 it was in Halifax. That was the year that the Swedes wound up with a relegation pool. It was a 4-team competition that year. The Swedes finished 1 spot above relegation after that loss to the Swiss.
And now when you talk to the Swedes, the expectations in their country are much the same as they are at home for us, for the Canadian team.
Timo Meier comes busting in the San Jose first-round pick, lifts that high and wide, and now Alex Nylander back the other way for the Swedes. Nylander works in, drops it back. Timashov with a quick shot, and Duclos makes the save.
Duclos with the stop, but this play starts at the other end when Timo Meier is going to break in off the wing. Real strong move to the net, and he doesn't miss by much up over the top of the net. But when the puck goes back to Alex Nylander, the Swiss have 3 guys back, but 2 of them are checking the far side of the ice. They leave wide open for the shot. Duclos with the stop.
Damien Riat, who plays in the Swiss A-League for Geneva. Most of these Swiss players will split time between 2 and sometimes 3 teams during the season. Many of them play in the Junior League, the B-League, and the A-League simultaneously. Axel Holmstrom with a shot, and the Detroit draft pick whistles that wide. Holmstrom, Adrian Kempa. Kempa plays it back to Jakob Larsson. Lagesson with a shot that goes off a stick, up and out.
As much as we've talked about the Nylanders early on, Bob talked about it in the opening about this line here for the Swedes with Lindblom, Holmstrom, and Kempa. Kempa is a terrific player, Los Angeles Kings first rounder, but the real sleeper is Axel Holmstrom, 25. He's a centerman, he's a hard worker, diligent player. They're pushing him to do things just a little bit quicker, but that line will be very dangerous for the Swedes.
Kempa with 7 goals in 21 games for Ontario, California in the American Hockey League. The Ontario Reign
won a Calder Cup last year with Manchester, which was where LA's farm team was. He finished his season and then went over for the playoffs and had a terrific run there. 6 goals in the 17 playoff.
Turkov brings it in now, loose behind the Swedish goal. He got squeezed off the puck there for a moment by Andres Englund. And it's brought up by Joel Eriksson, the Minnesota first-round pick. He's taken down. And there's no penalty on the play. Eriksson throws his gloves down and heads to the Swedish bench.
Surprised there wasn't a penalty given the international rule for head contact. That was contact to his face.
Now N brings it in, shoots short side. Duclos makes the stop. There is blood on the ice as he made his way off, and Eriksson is going to head to the Swedish locker room.
You see Rikard Gronberg, who is a fiery guy behind the bench, is up on the bench yelling at the officials. There's the contact. It's helmet to face as Fabian Heldner, a big man at 6'4", 212 pounds, comes across to make the check on Eriksson Ek. And you're going to see the contact there.
Now, intentional or not, any contact to the head is automatically a penalty under IIHF rules. And now the officials are huddling at the timekeeper's bench. The replays have been shown on the scoreboard. This is interesting, Ray, because the other night, 3 pucks went through the net. at the one end of this building, and the officials, we believe, actually used a replay on the scoreboard to decide to go to review.
Well, they certainly did, because they were getting ready to drop the puck, and then all of a sudden the Swedish bench exploded. They changed it, and then it turned into a circus with goal after goal in the empty net. But there was definite contact, helmet to Eriksson Ek's face. Eriksson Ek, a first rounder of the Minnesota Wild in 2015, has gone down the tunnel to the Swedish locker room.
And now referee Vladimir Pesina will go over and talk to Ricard Gronberg. So Gronberg gives the slow nod, and I believe we are going to get a penalty here, are we?
Well, there's the contact, and it's inadvertent, as you mentioned, Gord. When Heldner comes across the ice to deliver the check, his helmet hits the face of Eriksson Ek.
Now, do they know the number?
Well, I wouldn't be volunteering it if I'm the Swiss, that's for sure. One of their defensemen that plays a lot is an aggressive player on a team that doesn't have a lot of aggressive defenders. They play more of a contained system.
So remember, contact with the head, in addition to hitting from behind, automatic 2 and 10. And the conversation continuing here. I think they're trying to determine who the player they need to penalize is.
Well, and it looks like it, almost certainly it is a power play. There's 5 Swedes on the ice. 4 of them are forwards, which would lead you to believe that would be their power play group. And now it looks like they want to scrape up the blood
off the ice.
And so John Foust has to have somebody serve the 2-minute minor, because the minor is accompanied by a 10-minute misconduct, which would be a really difficult penalty early here in the first period for the Swiss, as shoulders were down, arms were tucked, helmet to head. And let's take a look at this. It's no slow motion in real time. Watch how quickly this decision is made to make the hit and how quickly the contact is made. That's right in front of us. We could see immediately that Eriksson Ek was contacted up high and then bleeding quite profusely from his nose.
So it's a 5-minute major, which also means a game misconduct for Tino Kessler.
Well, you can see John Fuchs now is not very happy.
They've got the wrong guy. They've got 22 on the board. It was 27, Fabian Heldner, who hit him.
But again, if I'm the Swiss, the ref comes over and asks me who made the contact. I say, I don't know. I got no idea. This is one of their better defensemen. Heldner moves across. And quite frankly, Gordon, that should not be a 5-minute major. I mean, I understand the contact to the head penalty, and I'm really a fan of it. I really am. But that's not, there was zero intent.
Now, the problem is if you toss Kessler out of the game, he plays in their top line.
I will always make that trade. You will always want to keep one of your defensemen. Kessler missed a breakaway in the first 20 seconds of the contest. But man, they've made a mess of this here early in period 1.
So it's a power play for Sweden. The indication is a 5-minute major to the Swiss. There's no one in the penalty box yet.
And you can see that Fabian Heldner's got some questions as well.
Now they're setting up the 16-year-old Nico Hischier to serve it. Just named their team today, plays in the Swiss A-League as a 16-year-old. So but they have not announced who the penalties against, and Heldner remains on the bench for the Swiss. And this has been a long delay here. But a 5-minute major carries with it a game misconduct. That took 6 minutes to sort out. And now Sweden is on the power play.
And as they say, you got the wrong guy. Heldner stays in the game.
And so is Kessler, who just stepped on the ice. Kempa brings it in. Adrian Kempa now on the Swedish power play, lays it around for Lindblom. Drops it back to Larson. Jakob Larson trying to hold the line. Kessler's all over him, and now it's fired down the ice by Roger Kara. Well, we thought we'd seen everything, but once the puck went through the net 3 times, and now this, maybe you haven't. Asplund drops it off for Timashov. Timashov brings it around. Here's Pettersson waiting for it. Marcus Pettersson scored twice against Canada with bullet shots from the point, which went right through the net. Here's Pettersson with it again. Those nets, by the way, have been, the mesh rather, has been replaced. Here's Timashov with it. Drops it back to Pettersson. Alex Nylander. Rink wide, Timashov. Couldn't get a stick on that. Now, Alex Nylander drops it back. Pettersson a drive that goes off the leg and back down the ice, blocking that was Simon Kinchy. Puck loose in the corner. Pettersson digging for it. Pia Suter trying to keep it frozen down there. Now finally picked up by Pettersson. Pettersson plays for Skellefteå, the powerhouse franchise in the Swedish Hockey League. Up ahead for Timashov. Timashov steps around Marco Forer. Battle for it in the corner. Forer digging for it. And finally picked up by William Nylander. There's Larson with a long shot. And Duclos makes the stop. 3:06 to go here in the opening period. Sweden with a 1-0 lead on Switzerland. So Joel Eriksson Ek is back on the Swedish bench after being hit earlier and getting cleaned up.
Now wearing number 13 because his 20 jersey has blood on it, no name on the back.
Meantime, number 22 remains on the board as the penalty to Tino Kessler, but on the information system, they do list it as 27, Fabian Heldner.
So despite all that mess, they got it right.
Right.
Still don't like the call, but
they actually called it elbowing on Heldner. But it winds up as a game misconduct, 5 major, and then they count game misconduct as 20, so it winds up as being a 25-minute penalty to Heldner. And the end result is Sweden on a 5-minute power play. William Nylander works in, drops it down. Holmstrom trying to play it across, and Gauthier Duclos hops on that.
Gordon, we saw the other night against Canada, this Swedish power play can really zip the puck around. They scored a couple of power play goals. Oscar Lindblom in the first period, Holmstrom in the third period, Pettersson as well. But they like to get the puck quite predictably into William Nylander's hands. They're going across the back door on this play to Adrian Kempa, but the play is denied on the goal mouth pass.
William Nylander led the Swedes in scoring in last year's tournament with 10 points. That pass for him deflected away by Julien Privé. And now Privé chips it in, and Larson picks it up. Jakob Larson, a first-round pick of the Anaheim Ducks. Drops it back to Lindblom. Oscar Lindblom plays it back for Kempa, and that's knocked away and back down the ice by Tino Kessler, who inadvertently wound up being the center of the drama here in this first period. Now steaming in is William Nylander. Rocks it up to Eriksson Ek. Trying to find Timashov with it. Now Timashov steps up, trying to throw it back, but Pettersson wasn't there, and it's back down to the Swedish zone.
Good first 3 minutes for the Swiss here as they've regrouped and done a nice job keeping the Swedes to the outside. Just one shot, a point shot so far.
Timashov plays for Quebec in the Quebec Major Junior League, has 18 goals in 29 games in that league, and now he brings it ahead. Timashov put that in the skates Now Switzerland's Timo Meyer, but they can't clear it out. Asplund with it. Back down to Eriksson Ek. A sharp angle shot that was blocked by Perlacher. Pettersson plays it. Under 90 seconds to go in this power play. Timoshaw looks back to Pettersson. Rolling puck. He tees it up and fires it wide. Alex Nylander on it. Down to Eriksson Ek. Timoshaw gets bumped there by Meyer and taken down. 4 gets to it for the Swiss. Perlacher comes in and fires that down. The other Swedish player not in their lineup, Sebastian Aho, will not play in this tournament. He was struck in the throat by a clearing attempt by Canada's
Joe Hicketts.
Yeah, Joe Hicketts hit him right in the throat with a clearing attempt. Was taken to hospital briefly. We're told he will be all right, but will not be available to the Swedes for this tournament. So yet again, the Swedes lose a player in the pre-tournament, which seems to happen to them almost every year. In the case of the Hicketts shot, there was nothing malicious about it, just a bad break. Kempa lays it down with 30 seconds to go on the power play. William Nylander in, shoots, and that goes off the hand, it would appear, of the Swiss player Turkov. Might have been the inside of his leg, and Turkov shaking up, blocking that shot.
Turkov, who plays in Kelowna in the Western Hockey League, his dad is a Canadian. Came over to Kelowna to play. Plays a heavier game, 7 goals in 29 games. Kills penalties, obviously, out here. Makes a really nice effort to get across to block this shot. He catches it on the inside of the right foot. He's hobbled as he skips his way to the bench. But an excellent block here for the Swiss.
Larson to William Nylander. Back to Larson. Kempa takes the return pass, walks in and shoots. That deflected wide. Axel Holmstrom trying to center it. Final seconds now of this power play. Kempa holds the line for the Swedes. Cross to William Nylander. Back to Kempa, walking in, a bouncing puck. And Switzerland survives a 5-minute Swedish power play. Now a loose puck in front, bounced away from Nylander. Kempa back to William Nylander. Long wrist shot, that's blocked. These Swiss penalty killers need off the ice. Have been out there a while. Axel Holmstrom, loose puck, shoots. The call makes the save. The puck still loose. They bang away and score. Looked like Lindblom might have got the last touch on it. And shortly after the 5-minute penalty expires, the Swedes take a 2-0 lead. Now hang on. The officials are talking again. Did the whistle go before the puck went in?
Duclos talking to the official. Watch the play by 25 Holmstrom. He's going to let the puck bounce off the end boards and come out to a scoring area by himself. Look at that play. Real smart play. The puck comes alive. The puck doesn't look like it's covered, but it's Lindblom who scored against Canada. Oh, the puck's never really covered. It's in the feet of Noah Rod. And Lindblom backhands it underneath the goaltender. 4 goals in last year's World Junior Tournament. That's a 5-on-5 goal after the Swiss do a magnificent job killing the 5-minute major. But the Swedes take a 2-0 lead on Oskar Lindblom's first of the tournament.
5th round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers is Lindblom, who plays for Brynäs in the Swedish Hockey League. And like some of the Swiss players, a few of the Swedes split time between the Junior League and the Swedish Hockey League. Marco Foer being watched there by Forsbacka Karlsson. And now Timo Meyer just spins and shoots that down the ice. And that's icing against the Swiss with 9:21 to go in the first period.
Well, Duclos just can't get his hands on the puck. The play is there by Holmstrom. He takes it off the end boards, pivots to his forehand, and lets the puck do the work so he can shovel it in the pads of the goaltender. Holmstrom gets a second whack at it, and you'll notice Holmstrom's outside the goal crease, so the play's allowed to continue. And Lindblom gets to the puck, the 3rd whack at it. And the Swiss are down 2, but they're going to get a power play here.
Meyer was taken down by Gabriel Karlsson. And so the Swiss will get their first power play. As Meyer, the San Jose first-round pick,
so
was
Meyer
clipped by Gabriel Karlsson.
Sorry, Gord. He's saying to the official, he cross-checked me right in the mouth, and he did. We're going to watch this here. Oh.
Right in front of the Swiss bench.
That's a far more malicious check than the 5-minute major that was handed out to Heldner from the Swiss. But it's a 4-minute minor for Gabriel Carlson. Carlson, who was Columbus's first-round pick in 2015, will sit for 4, and the Swiss have a chance to get back in the game.
And Meyer will not start the power play for the Swiss. 9:06 to go in the period. A double minor to Gabriel Carlson gives the Swiss a chance.
Oh, lots going on, Gordon, the first 11 minutes here.
Never dull at the World Junior, is it, Ray?
Wow, it's just so different, and of course the stakes are so high that you can feel the rev of the engine for the kids here. And the Swiss have had a decent start, a couple of bad breaks, and now they got to climb uphill.
Now fired down the ice by Forbatka Carlson. Meantime, in the other rink at the Hartwell Arena where the medal round will be played, the Czechs and the Russians are in a shootout.
Czechs had the first goal, a penalty shot goal in the first period, or rather in the second period. The Russians with an early goal in the third period. I thought the Czechs were pretty good in the exhibition game, Gord. They worked hard, they were physical against Canada.
Here to have a good goaltender in Vitek Vanacek. Now brought ahead by Meyer. Tries to drop it back. Another player missing for the Swiss. The tough one, Kevin Fiala. Nashville star prospect in Milwaukee of the American Hockey League. Not clear who made the call for him not to come, whether it was Fiala's idea or Nashville's, but he's not coming to the tournament. Felt that he's better off playing in North America. Now a bouncing puck, and Forbatka Carlson steals that for the Swedes. But the loss of Fiala is a big one for the Swiss, who don't have a lot of depth.
They've never been a country that scores very easily. Fiala certainly would be among the tournament's most dangerous forwards.
And here's Meyer with it now.
We quickly got a little bit of an edge when asking the question about where Fiala might be for the tournament. And it was clear that the Swiss really wanted him to come.
So the Russians have beaten the Czechs 2-1 in a shootout. And remember, under the IIHF format, overtime and shootout wins are worth 2 points. You get 1 point for the loss. Regulation wins are worth 3. And the thing about last year, Ray, in Germany not getting Leon Draisaitl from Edmonton, a star player like that out of their lineup, and they wind up being relegated.
They looked like a team that knew they couldn't compete, and without Draisaitl, it was like the wind went completely out of them.
Looks like the Czechs might get help later in the tournament, though, as David Pasternak was expected to arrive from the Boston Bruins in a couple days. The NHL roster freeze comes off on December 28th. So here are the Swiss results of late. Last year, 1 spot above relegation prior to that 7th, 6th, 8th, and 5th. Their only medal in the tournament was won here in Helsinki back in 1998. That was the year that the Finns beat the Russians in overtime on the goal by Nico Kapanen, and still ranks one of the greatest moments in Finnish hockey history. Their last gold medal, the Finns, was won in overtime as well against the Swedes in Malmo a couple of years ago. A loss that still sticks in Swedish craws. They would love to return the favor this year in Helsinki.
A beautiful overtime goal by Rasmus Ristolainen, a 4-on-4 goal. He went down the right side, cut across, just a beautiful goal. Set up a wild celebration for the Finns.
Brought in by Noah Rod. Now Rod spins back as they drop it off unopposed, and less than a minute to go in this 4-minute power play for the Swiss.
And Gord, you really notice, and it's been this way for a long time with the Swiss, when they get the power play, they're just not really creative with the puck. They go in pretty much straight lines. Everything is very predictable, and as far as I can remember, they've never really had a very good power play.
Pichier, number 18, is out there now for the Swiss. The 16-year-old, one of the youngest players in the tournament. A nifty move walking in there is Meyer. And Daryl Meyer turned away by Linus Soderstrom. Kimchi trying to play that across. It goes off a stick and back out. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Turkov back in the Swedish zone. Racing to it is William Lagesson. He plays at UMass Amherst in the NCAA. A couple of these Swedish players are U.S. college players. Now Asplund brings it out. Drops it back to William Nylander. And that'll do it for the Swiss power play. The lead pass now goes to Englund. In come the Swedes. Englund with a quick shot. And Declos hangs on to that. Oscar Lindblom has the second goal for Sweden. A 2-0 lead on Switzerland on day one of the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship.
The second year at the World Junior Championship for John Fust as the head coach. They beat Germany, as Gord mentioned, 5-2 a couple of times to avoid relegation last year. They feel like they have a pretty competitive team. They know they're going to be challenged offensively, but they feel like they've played pretty well. Their camp has been good, and that they can really push some teams. And they've had a good first period here. They killed off the 5-minute major and missed a breakaway 20 seconds in, and they're certainly competitive here in this first period.
Here's Pettersson with it. Through the middle for William Nylander. Timashov with it. And it's intercepted by Roger Kara. Now Kara plays it around for Siegenthaler. And away comes Privé. Looking for Schmidtly. That's broken up, and a big hit at center ice. Egley takes down William Nylander, and Nylander remains down on the ice. And a penalty coming here to the Swiss, and this will be a big one. Now Pettersson is going after Egley, the man who unloaded that hit. You saw that seconds before it happened.
Whoa, that again, Gord, like the hit earlier was right in front of us. Nylander's got the puck. He doesn't see on the blind side as on the turnover. The puck is going to come. He's turning right here. And right from the left wing comes Chris Egley. And he throttles Nylander in the middle of the ice. It will be interesting what the call will be here. That looks like it's the initial contact, the check to the head.
Now it's going to be a 5-minute major to Egley for the check to the head. So now that'll get reviewed by the disciplinary committee. It is a committee. Some of the members of it are here. Some are back home in their home countries. An email will go out with a video, and the decision will be made within 24 hours if there will be further discipline to Chris Egley, who could face a multi-game suspension for that hit. It's a 5-minute major to Egley. There's also a roughing call, I believe, against the Swedes on Pettersson for some retaliation. And Nylander is heading to the Swedish dressing room.
Well, hopefully Nylander is all right. I mean, that is a huge hit, and the contact was high. Now, this is the second Swiss player that has been ejected from the game here in the first 15.5 minutes. The first one they'll review as well, because that was a major, and there'll be nothing, I would suspect, to that, as that was a helmet to face, an inadvertent play. This one, the contact, Nylander staring at the puck, and he doesn't see Egley come, but Egley's contact is not through the body, it is up high. And then as Egley goes in on the forecheck, Marcus Pettersson is chasing him down. He's going to end up with a 2-minute roughing penalty. The officials have this call right on both sides of the coin. And we can hope William Nylander is all right as he went with the Swedish doctor back to the locker room to be evaluated.
Wow, this has been a nasty, edgy first period. And with repercussions that are yet to be heard in terms of suspensions for the Swiss, and if Nylander's out for any length of time for Sweden, that's a huge blow to a team that plays the United States in 2 days' time. And the face-off will not be in the Swedish zone because of the minor penalty to Pettersson.
As Nylander had the puck stick on the ice just a bit for him, he looks down to find it, and he never gets his head back up to see where the mid-ice pressure is coming from, and it's coming from Egley off the left wing. But there's no question, Gord, that initial contact is directly to the side of the head of Nylander and not through the main portion of the body.
And the first line of the checking of the head statute in the IIHF rulebook states there is no such thing as legal contact to the head. And we've seen it a couple of times here in the opening period. Siegenthaler avoids that big hit from Axel Holmstrom. And now Siegenthaler back with it. A Washington second-round pick of Siegenthaler. Ahead to Meyer. Timo Meyer in across the line, trying to step around Lagesson. And now Kara Plays that in the corner. And here's Larsson back for it. Jakob Larsson plays for Frölunda in the Swedish Hockey League. Larsson drops it back off for Lindblom. Brought in now by Lindblom. Feeds it across to England, a quick wrist shot. And Duclos makes the save. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot for the ultimate power play. Come to the place with top brands and unbeatable prices. Let's do this. Downtown Helsinki, it's been quite warm here. That's fortunately artificial ice. Plus 9 degrees Celsius here yesterday, a little bit of rain. A far cry from it was like 11 years ago when the tournament was here. It was cold and snowy that day. That year, actually, not just that day. There's Grundstrom with it. Lead pass goes to Christopher Ed. Aiming across the line along with Grundstrom, comes barreling in. Trying to center it, it goes off the back of the net. And now scooped up by Andrea Glaser. Glaser got tied up there by N. Gets back up and moves it across the line. Walking in, a quick shot by Malgin. Rebound, score! Tino Kessler taps it in on the shot by Dennis Malgin, and the Swiss are back within one.
A 4-on-4 goal, and Tino Kessler, who missed a breakaway 25 seconds into the game, is going to bunt this out of the air. Dennis Malgin, a very shifty forward, a 4th-round pick by the Florida Panthers, beats the defense to the inside. Soderstrom makes the initial stop, and there's the bunt by Kessler to make it 2-1. The Swiss will go on, or the Swedes will go on the power play in 14 seconds. But the Swiss have the lead in a rather emotional first period.
Yeah, really, both ways. So Kessler plays for Davos in the Swiss League, the defending Swiss champions, and he was a member of their team last year at times. Also, of course, the host team for the annual Spengler Cup tournament, which gets underway in the high Swiss altitude shortly. One of the most beautiful settings in all of hockey. That Davos rink is something else. So now the Swedes on the power play for 3 minutes after having a 5-minute major earlier in the period. Timashov jumps in across the line. Forced back at Carlson, takes the place of William Nylander. Larsson rings it around for Timashov. Eriksson Ek standing in front. Here's Timashov. Winds back in, looks for a lane, drops it down to Forsbacka Karlsson. And Forsbacka Karlsson steps away from Rod. Lays it down to Eriksson Ek. Flips it across to Timashov. Timashov works it back to Larsson. Alex Nylander for Timashov. Back for Larsson. Larsson, Alex Nylander couldn't pull the trigger. Now back goes to Larsson for Timashov. Works in, waits. Back to Alex Nylander. Waits and fires. Just missed the far post. Timashov back for Larsson. Alex Nylander back with it. For Larsson. In for Timashov. Under 2 to go in this power play. Eriksson Ek with a jam at it. Duclos turns the first one away. Alex Nylander drops it back to Larsson. Jakob Larsson and Timashov. Takes the return pass. Timashov walks in and fires. Duclos makes the stop. Under a minute to go here in the first period. Larsson with it. Jakob Larsson drops it across to Timashov. Timashov for Alex Nylander, and he fans in the one-timer. Nylander back into the slot, still with it, drops it off for Larsson. Forsbacka Karlsson to Larsson, who fires it and pounds it wide. Timashov racing to it and is able to hold the line for the Swedes. Nylander swings it across for Timashov. In, shoots, scores! Dmytro Timashov, power play goal. And the Swedes are back up by 2.
A crushing goal for the Swiss to give up here. This is an outstanding effort by Dmytro Timashov, the Toronto Maple Leafs 5th-round pick from 15. He's more of an assist guy than a goal scorer, although he's got 18 goals in 29 games. Look at the effort Gordy makes here to race to the blue line to save this puck by just a couple of inches. He just flings it across the ice to Alex Nylander. Nylander's going to slow the play down, and a nifty little move to the middle by Timashov, and he beats the goaltender Declos up over the glove. Little pivot up over the glove, and it's a power play marker with just 29 seconds left in the period. An excellent effort by Timashov.
Officially, Switzerland's out shooting Sweden 7-4 in the period. Check that 9-5 Sweden. They just changed it now. And the Swedes with a 3-1 lead. Kempe up for Lindblom. He finds Holmstrom. Axel Holmstrom gets straightened up. Final seconds now of the period. Henderson brings it in. Now a late shot there by Suter on Kempe. Kempe's got gloves up. And now we got pushing and shoving here. And sticks up in the corner as a scrum broke out at the horn. So a very, very edgy first period. Now Axel Holmstrom's into it with Siegenthaler, and they're still trying to separate them.
The official's got his notepad out. He's writing furiously here, trying to keep track of what's going on. There'll be all kinds of penalties handed out by the time the second period starts, but period one's going to end 3-1 lead for the Swedes. Oh, there's the later hit by Meyer, and then Kempe shoves Meyer over top, and the dominoes start to fall.
Might need a bigger book.
Or a new pen.
3-1 the Swedes lead in a hard-hitting, sometimes over-the-line first period on the opening day of the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship. Our first intermission is coming up.
Expedia.ca Hockey Hotel.
Hey Canada, this is Kate. I'm Cabby. Go to Expedia.ca/Hockey Hotel and you can win a trip for two to Cancun.
Because hockey's better at the beach.
Each season, more than 100 teams take to the ice with hopes of playing at Canada's National Female Midget Championship, the Esso Cup. Premier marketing partner of Hockey Canada, Imperial Oil is proud to help the growth of women's hockey across Canada. Visit hockeycanada.ca/Esso Cup.
Remember, this afternoon, Canada has its opener against the Americans, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That follows this game in Helsinki. James Duffy back with Bob McKenzie after an eventful first period. That took 42 minutes plus. The typical World Junior period, about a half an hour. So a lot going on. Of course, the hit that was felt throughout Sweden and throughout the Toronto Maple Leafs organization on William Nylander. And it's one of those ones, again, where he does a lot of things right. And it's hard to tell if it's direct contact to the head, but it's extremely violent.
Well, absolutely. And coming across the middle, turning like that, there was no question that Nylander took a shot directly to the head. There was an attempt to make a body-on-body play, but completely unsuspecting on his part. And the shoulder, there's no question, the contact was made to the head. You see him swing around, and then Egley comes across the middle, and he doesn't get enough body-on-body and way too much contact to the head. Nylander really looked wobbly when he went walking off the ice. In the dressing room right now, and we'll find out what his status is for the rest of this game, the rest of this tournament. But you're right. You don't ever like to see any player get hit in the head, but the stakes are ramped up a little bit because it's a player who many believe could be the best player in this tournament this year.
So we are now 5 periods into the World Juniors with the Russia-Czech game, and 3 major penalties leading to ejections already.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, it all started this morning in the Czech-Russia game. Jacob Zaboral, the Boston Bruin first-round pick, he steps up and just makes what we think is a clean hit, but because it happened so close to the boards and there was a little bit of contact, he got 5 in a game. Now, this one's interesting. The Swiss defender comes across Heldner, and he makes helmet-to-helmet contact. He tries to make a body check, but he gets incidental contact to the head. Forsbacka Karlsson goes off, and Eriksson Ek, rather, and he's damaged. And then this one, the most significant of the 3, no question about that one. Now, the rule in international hockey is very clear. Any hit to the head, whether it's incidental or otherwise. There is no such thing as a clean hit to the head. Whether accidental or intentional, every direct hit to the head or the neck of an opponent will be penalized. So in the case of Eriksson Ek, who took the head-to-head contact, it had to be a 5-minute major. Once you get sufficient physical damage on a hit to the head, even if it's totally unintentional, it's still a 5-minute major. So that was the correct application of international rules, such as they are.
Well, Fabian Helder got a little bit unlucky, I think, because, as you said, he did everything right on the clean hit, but its helmet catches him just because of the position of the other player. And the two majors to Switzerland both pay off for Sweden. The first goal comes right after the penalty ended. Tell us about the second goal.
Well, Timashov does a good job here of restoring a 2-goal lead for the Swedes. And obviously the fact that they took that minor penalty for retribution, if you want to call it that, cost them with the Swiss scored. But Timashov, another, big period for the Maple Leaf prospects. Timashov, Alex Nylander, who's draft eligible this year, and William Nylander playing on that line for Sweden, and William Nylander getting the first goal of the game and Timashov getting the third and restoring it. But this game is all kinds of crazy, lots of edge, and as we saw at the very end, looks like it's a powder keg.
Yeah, crazy first day at the World Juniors, and we're still hours away from Canada, USA, because Russia and the Czech Republic over at the other rink opened things up early this morning, and this game had plenty to talk about, including a shootout finish to it. We'll show you the highlights next here on TSN.
To the RBC Cup is a long one. As a premier marketing partner of Hockey Canada, RBC supports teams in their quest to reach Canada's National Junior A Championship. For more information, visit hockeycanada.ca/RBC Cup.
If you weren't with us at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, where were you? Russia, Czech Republic, scoreless in the second. Turnover, Michael Spacek for the Czechs breakaway, gets hacked and is awarded the always popular penalty shot. The Jets prospect, tons of patience, and that is dirty as he waits and goes upstairs. 1-0 Czech Republic, third period. Radel Fazlev shot stop. Artur Lauta buries the rebound. We have a tie game, and this one will go all the way to the shootout. Russia's first shooter, Maxim Lazarev. Again, slow and 5-hole, and that would be your winner as the Russians take it 2-1. So they get the 2 points. Remember, 3 points for a win in regulation, 2 if you win in OT or the shootout. William Nylander smiling at the beginning, but not by the end. We await word on his condition. They're up 3-1, the second period next. Here's your first period scoring summary brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. 3-1 Sweden, your score. Now, that little mess at the end of the period led to 2 roughing penalties, but an extra cross-checking penalty to Switzerland. So Sweden will go back on the power play to start the second with Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro.
Well, you begin the game talking about William Nylander, and in the middle of the game you talk about him for that hit he received, but his little brother Alex with a couple of assists in the first 20 minutes.
Well, Alexander Nylander's had a fabulous start to his Ontario Hockey League career. When he left for the tournament, he was in the top 6 in scoring as a 17-year-old draft-eligible player. He picked up an assist on his brother William's power play or initial goal, and then when William was gone off the power play, it was Alex on the half wall who finds Dmytro Timashov for the 3-1 Swedish lead. He showed some patience and poise with the puck. He had a couple of really good chances just prior to the assist as well. An impressive start to the tournament for Alexander Nylander, whose brother has not returned to the Swedish bench.
No report from the Swedes, and we're not likely to get one. As a rule, they don't update injuries in-game or even sometimes post-game. So that would be an enormous loss. And so it's a 5-on-3 power play now, you're indicating.
Yeah, the 37 seconds left from that.
Right.
From the penalty at the end of the first period. Or the continuing penalty from the major. And now the penalty at the end makes it 5-on-3.
Kempa centers it, and the puck skipped away from Forsbacka Carlson. Held there by Jakob Larsson. Larsson, Carlson, and now Alex Nylander, a shot that drifts wide as Kempa picks it up. Adrian Kempa back to Alex Nylander out of his reach. Alex, like his older brother, born in Calgary when his dad Michael was playing there. Michael was a very proficient offensive player for half a dozen NHL teams.
He was really good on the puck. He'd hold the puck and cycle it. Really, really good passer out of the corner. Very good player. He was one of the weirdest sticks I've ever seen.
Kempa for Larson. He and John LeClaire win the prize for that.
Well, LeClaire had a kind of a 2-iron sort of dealy thing going, and Michael Nylander had a stick that had a curve going back the other way at the toe. You just couldn't stop looking at the thing. I don't know how he did what he did with it.
Pettersson for Lindblom, in for Kempa. Adrian Kempa swings that rink wide, and Alex Nylander has that shot blocked. On a good effort there by Switzerland's Chris Schmidlin. Now sent back down the ice. So Switzerland survived a 5-minute major earlier in the game. A 3-minute Swedish power play. Then a 5-on-3, and now still 25 seconds to go in this man advantage.
And they've given up just the one power play goal. It's actually been quite a victory for their penalty kill so far. And don't forget the Swedes are without William Nylander, as we've talked about.
Timashov in scores, whistles that over the shoulder of Duclos, and just like that, the power play goal takes it 4-1.
Gord, I had no inkling he was going to shoot the puck from that far out. Timashov, who had 71 assists last year, is likely to pass as much as he's going to shoot the puck. He walks across the top of the circle after he initially drives into the zone. He's going to hang on to the puck. I think he's going to set it up right here. But he's got traffic in front. You see Duclos looks to his left. As Duclos looks to his left, Dmytro Timashov has his second power play goal in about 2.5 minutes up over the right shoulder, and it's 4-1.
Timashov, born in Ukraine. His family moved to Sweden when he was 7 years old. Mentioned plays for Quebec in the Quebec Major Junior League. 53 points in 29 games for the Remparts. He was the Quebec League Rookie of the Year last year. But as you mentioned, 35 assists in those 29 games, so far more likely to pass than shoot, but the shot doesn't look bad.
Remember, 5th-round pick for the Leafs, so the Leafs got a whole pile of guys they're watching here in this tournament. Arizona has 7 players here in the tournament.
Adam Olis Matson sends it down. The teams are back to 5-on-5. And that long shot taken there by Christopher N. And that's stopped by Duclos.
From the initial pickup of the puck in the neutral zone, Timashov's trying to drive the play into the zone, and right now he's settled it down. He knows he's got time because no one's going to chase him on the power play, but it's here where he squares up and releases the puck. It's so impressive. What a start for him.
There's a toe save by Duclos on Eriksson Ek, who's now wearing number 13 for the Swedes after being hit in the head in the first, but he has blood in his sweater. That first period took nearly an hour to complete as Pia Suter brings it in towards back at Carlson. Slides it ahead. Grundstrom. Fan of that shot. Now Grundstrom has it back behind the Swiss goal. Centers it. And Eriksson Ek missed it. Lagesson jumps in for the point for Sweden. Gets bumped there by Fora. Eriksson Ek plays it back, and now racing back is Gabriel Carlsson with it. We talked about Carlson's cross-check on Timo Meier. It was a 2-minute cross-checking penalty. It's possible he could receive more discipline for that.
Well, I think it's more likely that Carlsson would receive supplemental discipline than Hellberg, who had the 5-minute check to the head early. I think that's probably going to be enough for him. That was accidental contact.
Now Holmstrom turns it over, and that shot by Meier is gloved by Linus Soderstrom.
Timo Meier's a heck of a player. Drafted last year by San Jose in the first round. A physical player. He can get to the net. And he's got 36 points this year in just 23 games for Halifax. Bob mentioned in the pregame show that find out where he finishes the year off. But Meier's a player that the Sharks are really excited about. They've got another one from the Swiss as well, Noah Rod. They had taken him in the second round the year before.
Roger Carr has that shot blocked. Meier's third year with Halifax in the Quebec League at 44 goals in 61 games last year. So 4 minutes gone here in the second period. Earlier, Russia beat the Czechs in a shootout. As bringing in is Jens Luka, who began this game as the 13th forward for the Swedes, now gets a regular shift with William Nylander out.
The Swedes have a depth of offensive talent that really will be among the tournament's most dangerous offensive teams, I think, by the time all said and done. Of course, the long-range health of William Nylander will play a large part of that.
Now Asplund spins, shoots, and scores! Rasmus Asplund puts that by Duclos, and it's 5-1 Sweden.
Duclos hasn't played very much this year, nor played very well, quite frankly. His numbers aren't very good. He's a small guy, real active in the net. At times probably would do better to be a little more stationary. Again, he gets following the puck. He's trying to find the puck. Can't find it for just a split second through the Timoshov screen, and Asplund turns and fires it. It's up over the glove, and it's 5-1.
Asplund plays for Färjestad in the Swedish Hockey League. He's eligible for the draft for the first time next spring. So a 5-1 lead. Looked like John Fuss, the Swiss coach, went over to his backup goalie, Joran van Petelberg, and said, get ready. Now the Swiss break in 2-on-1. The centering pass is tapped wide by Nico Hischier. Long shot by Privea's glove down. Larson races back for the Swedes. Still to come today in this arena. Canada against the United States, their first Boxing Day meeting in 20 years. Runs from centers it out of the reach of Eriksson Ek. And it's banked out by Schmidli. Schmidli launched himself into Jakob Larson. Lead pass goes to Meyer. In comes Meyer with a step, shoots. The save made by Soderstrom. Back to come the other way, Asplund, the most recent Swedish goal scorer. Lays it down for Timoshov, who had 2 right before him. Timoshov with 3 points so far in the game, and it's not half over yet. Now Suter loses it to Alex Nylander. The Swedes break in 3-on-2. Nylander back for Asplund. He fanned with a one-timer as it bounced off his stick. Alex Nylander racing to it, but it's played out by Tino Kessler. And Siegenthaler softly lays that ahead, trying to find Suter. Now Suter centers it, and Kessler couldn't reach it. Quickly back the other way comes Timoshov. Dmytro Timoshov drops it off for Alex Nylander for Asplund. Bounced off his stick. And quickly breaking it back is Damian Riat for the Swiss. And that plays offside at the Swedish line. Dmytro Timoshov, the 19-year-old, has 2, and the Swedes have a 5-1 lead on Switzerland at the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship.
The Swedes have stretched out a 3-1 lead after 20 minutes to 5-1. The Timoshov and Asplund goals here in the early portion of period 2 have given them a little bit of breathing room.
In a tournament that has taken on large proportions in Sweden, the audience for the gold medal game in the 2014 tournament in Malmö, Sweden, the highest outside any Olympic hockey game played that year. When they won the gold medal in Calgary in 2012, 1.5 million people in Sweden watched that game that began at 3 a.m. in Stockholm. It 9 million people. Turkov plays it ahead, walks in off the boards. Turkov trying to wrap it around. Gathers it back up. Plays it back to Harlacher. Don't forget, the Swiss have had 2 players ejected from this game already. Carlson digging for it, has it taken away by Dennis Malgin. Malgin spins off a check. Works it back in. Malgin still with it, wraps it around, puts it right through the crease, and Soderstrom got a battle on that. Harlacher shoots, score! Edson Harlacher might have been tipped by Noah Rod in front. And it's now 5-2.
most nifty of the Swiss forwards is Dennis Malgin. Malgin had an assist on the first goal. He's going to get one on this second goal. He dangles the puck. Look at him spin back here on the cycle. He clears some room. He's going to go back around the front of the net. The puck will go all the way to the point to Harlacher. His shot is tipped in by Noah Rod. Rod, the second rounder from San Jose in 2014. Posts up in front of the net. The shot's going a little bit wide, actually, and it's an excellent deflection. And it's 5-2. Malgin has a couple assists for the Swiss.
Rod's one of the more productive of these Swiss junior players in their top league. He plays for Geneva in the Swiss A-League. Has 7 goals in 28 games for them. Of course, in the next game, we'll see a very productive player in the Swiss League, Austin Matthews of the U.S.
And when Matthews went to the Swiss League and signed in Zurich, Malgin moved down to the junior league to create some room. So, funny where the dominoes fall.
Lucas steps into Dario Meyer at the line. The play called offside with 12:29 to go in the second.
Really impressed here with Malgin, the Florida draft pick, who created this play on the cycle. Harlacher's shot is tipped in nicely by Noah Rod. And Soderstrom in goal has given up a couple here in the first half of the game. He gave up 5 in the first 40 minutes to Canada. Most of the Swedish people that we spoke to feel that Felix Sandstrom will be the goaltender that they'll lean on through the tournament, even though Soderstrom starts game 1.
Yeah, Sandstrom's been battling a stomach bug here. What's interesting about that is 9 to 10 teams are staying in the same hotel. So if a flu bug or stomach bug goes through, it's going to go through everybody. Guess which team isn't staying at the hotel?
I'm going to go with the Russians.
You would be correct, sir. They're staying about 45 minutes to an hour out of town, depending on the traffic. Why? Because. Eriksson reaching for it. And Privé trying to play it out. Now Eriksson back on it. Joel Eriksson still battling for it. And now Siegenthaler has it for the Swiss. His pass is picked off by M. Christopher N now. Trying to find Grundstrom. And Gabriel Carlson lays it back in the corner as Privé is back to pick it up. Siegenthaler. Rossi goes for Kerrer, and Carlson swings back to pick it up. As for Luka, too far for him. Icing waved off, though as Siegenthaler goes back. And around for Glauser. Chopped ahead to Meyer. In comes Meyer, tries to center him. That's tapped just high by Pia Suter. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. With top brands and unbeatable prices, there's no better place to score the tool you really want. Let's do this. So you'll notice here in Helsinki, we saw this in 2004, the tournament here. The glass is the same height all the way around. It doesn't raise in the end, so the low glass in the end leads to a lot more stoppages as pucks go out of play. Of course, back in 2004, there was no penalty for putting the puck out in your own zone. And it was a favorite tactic of goaltenders under pressure to steer pucks easily over that end glass. Alex Nylander. Chris Johnson there with Timashov. Takes the return pass and works along the wall. Swings that rink wide for Nylander. His centering pass is knocked down by Timo Meyer. And played away by Suter for Meyer. In comes Meyer busting in, centers it, and Soderstrom swatted that away. And now Meyer racing to the loose puck. Meyer spins and fires off the outside of the goal. Kessler back with it for Meyer. Shoots again, and Soderstrom makes the stop. It's a pretty good shift for Timo Meyer.
We started to see him last 2 or 3 shifts of the game, rather, becoming more and more prominent. Likes to drive that left wing, get the puck to the front of the net.
Kempa centers it. And Lindblom couldn't reach it. Now Axel Holmstrom a shot. He rang it off the post. Holmstrom a great chance. Rang it off the pipe. And now Lindblom back with it. Centers it. Out of the reach of Kempa. And Rod leaves it back for Forer. Marco Forer. Chris pass ahead. And Damian Riat got straightened up just inside the Swedish line. is England for it. Andreas England. And England, who had that big hit just inside the line a moment ago, expected to be one of the more physical Swedish defenders. Turkov. Brings it down to impose. And spinning back is England. Andreas England, a second-round pick by the Ottawa Senators. Flips it ahead to Holmstrom, and now Kempa on it. Kempa just drops off Terror. Kempa taken in. That time by Turkov. There's no penalty, and Kempa is still down on the ice. Now brought in by Impose. And the puck deflects out of play, and way behind the play, Adrian Kempa shaken up after a hard hit from Calvin Turkov. There's another key offensive player for the Swedes, Ray.
Adrian Kempa is a heck of a player. Los Angeles first rounder. Oh, and he gets thumped, and he was wobbly going back to the bench. And watch the contact by Turkov there, and the hit is going to bounce Kempa's head off the glass. Oh man, the Swiss have been really physical, reckless at times. You see Kempa up and wobbly a bit as he's working his way to the bench. He's being looked at on the Swedish bench as we speak.
So there's Kempa, who plays in the American League for the LA Kings with their Ontario AHL affiliate, being checked out. You've got William Nylander being evaluated. Plays the American League for the Toronto Marlies, the AHL affiliate of the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's two of their key offensive players shaken up in the first two periods of Game 1 of the tournament.
Gord, I would say it's funny when you mentioned that. The first thing that clicked to me when you said both Nylander and Kempa, not for anything else, but they play in the American League. Each level you go up, the game becomes more and more predictable, more and more organized. As you go from the NHL backwards, players coming from all over the place, and I'm wondering if Kempa and Nylander feel that a little bit here as they're playing back in junior as opposed to playing the pro game.
Of course, back at Carlson. For Eriksson Ek, that rolled off his stick, and now Suter looks ahead. And Kempa is going to make his way to the Swedish dressing room, being accompanied by the doctor. Jakob Larsson around for Lagesson. So they lose Aho in the pre-tournament as Forsbacka Karlsson comes in, works it back in, and scores. Jakob Forsbacka Karlsson, the Boston second-round pick, makes it 6-2. And that'll be it for Gauthier Declos in the Swiss net.
What a heck of a move here by Forsbacka Karlsson. He plays at Boston University the last couple of years in the USHL. But he's going to make a real strong move, taking the turnover and drive right across the front of the net. Declos gets back in the net. He doesn't protect the cross drive by Forsbacka Karlsson. Look, no poke check, and back just with his legs. Forsbacka Karlsson's first of the tournament's a beauty. And that'll be it for Gauthier Declos.
So on will come Joran van Pottelberga, the 18-year-old who plays in Sweden. And Pottelberga is a goalie for Linköping in the Swedish Junior League. He's a fourth-round pick of the Detroit Red. In 18 games this year for Boston University, which has 5 players in this tournament. 1 for Canada, 1 for Sweden, 3 for the U.S.
And we saw him the other day as the Swedish and Canadian locker rooms are side by each. He and Brandon Hickey were sharing a little catch-up, and how's everything going before their exhibition game the other night.
Asplund drops it back for Timashon to Alex Nylander. Nylander plays it across for England, back to Nylander. Try to step around Malgin, now played back in by England. Timashov works it back to Olis Madsen, a shot that goes off the outside of the net. By the way, the new mesh is working very well in these nets.
They're testing it out now, aren't they, down in this period?
Swedes are giving it a workout with a 6-2 lead here in the second period. The 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship returns to Helsinki after this. From Swedish fans and tons of Canadians here. More than 1,000 Canadians have arrived in Helsinki over the last couple of days. More expected to arrive in the next few. The 2016 World Junior, and these Swedish fans have made the way over. A little shorter trip for them. But the festival that is the holidays of the World Junior continues. We've run into fans that we've seen 5-6 years in a row at the World Junior. The Hardy Souls who went to Root for Russia.
That was maybe the most impressive group.
That should count for 2.
Yes.
Or more.
That's not close to anywhere. And it was cold. Still get a little shivery.
Next year, of course, in Toronto and Montreal. The year after that, Buffalo, New York has been awarded the U.S. hosting rights for the 2018 World Junior Championship. Then back in Canada in 2019, no host city announced yet. There, next 3 Christmases all planned out, right?
Yes, sir.
Point shot taken there by Carlson. Kicked away by Van Pottelberg.
I'm assuming the jet lag will be less next year.
You'd hope. Kirchhoff with that shot that goes wide. Now 5:45 to go in the second. Brought in by Dario Meyer. He was poke checked, and Carlson looks ahead for Holmstrom. He finds Lindblom. Up ahead to Eriksson Ek, the old Eriksson Ek. Missed that centering pass. He got by everyone and back down to the Swedish zone. William Lagesson plays at UMass Amherst in the NCAA, an Edmonton Oilers draft pick, 4th round in 2014. The Swedes could have as many as 12 players back from last year's team, depending on the health of Gustav Forsling. They have not yet added him to their team, so they have an open roster spot. Now Hischier with the steal on Larson. Nico Hischier, 16 years of age.
Not draft eligible till next year's draft, 2017
draft. Maybe wearing the full face shield for a while in this tournament. And Schmidli brings it ahead. Chris Schmidli. Leads it down there for Meyer. Meyer stepping through the debris back of the net. Now picks it back up. Meyer stays on it. Asplund comes back to take it away, but it's stolen right back by Suter. He loses it. Asplund looks quickly ahead and finds Timashov. Timashov buys some time, backhands that across. Englund was standing in front of the net, and now Asplund has it. Asplund. Cross he goes to Englund, a shot that went off a skate and wide. Centering pass by Holmstrom. 2 whacks at it for Asplund, and Siegenthaler gives him a couple of cross checks. And Van Pottelberg has it.
A little bit of a flurry around Van Pottelberg as he is in his first 5 minutes in relief here in the game. 6'3", 190 pounds. He moves across the net very well, stays square to the shooter. You notice the size differential between he and Duclos, quite a bit bigger.
Now off the draw, Lundstrom works it and shoots, and that's off the blocker. Van Pottelberg and out of play.
The last Detroit Red Wing goaltending prospect I remember in the World Junior Tournament was the brilliant performance of Peter Mrazek in Edmonton. Mrazek, who is, of course, one of the 2 goaltenders in Detroit, was stunning in his performance. Remember how excited he would get? He was flying around the ice and
fist pumping after saves.
Yeah, he's toned that down a little bit, but a terrific goaltender that we first saw in Edmonton a few years back.
Now the centering pass and a shot right on by Eriksson Ek, turned away by Van Pottelberg. Lundstrom knocks that away. In a lot of cases, teams like Switzerland won't play their top goaltender in games against the powers like Sweden, Canada, the U.S. They'll save them for the other games. So the Swiss play Denmark on the 27th, then Canada and the U.S. It's a tough draw for the Swiss.
The Denmark game might be more difficult for them than they think, because they very easily could be shorthanded due to some disciplinary decisions that will be made.
And we've talked about the roster. Once you name players in the roster, they cannot be replaced, including by suspension. So 5 different goal scorers for the Swedes this afternoon. 11 different players have points. And there's 3 minutes to go now in the second period. Larson on it. Angles there with Malgin. That long shot taken by Forward, kicked away easily by Soderstrom. In about a half hour's time, the host team will be in action, as the Finns will take on Belarus. And later on tonight in this arena, Canada and the United States. The New Year's Eve game on Boxing Day. Timashov back in the slot. That shot lifted high by Lindblom. Pass gets by Adam Olas-Mattsson, the Calgary draft pick, and all the way back down to the Swedish zone. Olas-Mattsson, the 6th-round pick of the Flames in 2014. Jens Luka works it and shoots. That's off the shoulder of Van Padelberger, and again over the low-end glass and out.
One of those Arizona draft picks in the tournament. Jens Luka is started as the 13th forward today with William Nylander's injury. He started to play more in the second period. This is a great release. He goes through the legs of Siegenthaler, forces Van Padelberger into a nice stop with the right shoulder.
Luka plays for Almtuna in the Allsvenskan, the Swedish second league. The Swedes changed their rules for promotion and relegation. It used to be a lot easier for teams in the Allsvenskan to get up in the Swedish Elite League, but they've expanded the league. We've got a linesman here, Pasi Nieminen, has his finger cut. He's being attended to at the Swedish bench. So the Swedish Hockey League expanded to 14 teams from 12 and toughened up the relegation rules, but they still do have relegation in that league. So clip with a stick right on the right hand. Ow.
Oh, it's going to be this.
Oh.
To get it with the skate, too. Oh, just the stick on the way by here. Oh.
Tough enough when you're wearing gloves, never mind when you're not.
He's going to have a heartbeat in his hand for the rest of the night.
For the tournament.
Cleaning up the ice again, man.
Boy.
This has been a pretty crazy 38 minutes here.
The face-off of the Swiss zone. 2:08 to go in the second period. Rasmus Asplund steps in for the face-off. And under the ultra-tight IIHF face-off rules, they've adopted the defensive half of center ice rule the NHL has. So if you're on the defensive side of center ice, your stick has to be down first. But you cannot win a draw with anything but your stick under IIHF rule. If you do, play is blown dead immediately. If you do it again, it's a penalty. It's a centering pass. And for Siegenthaler through the traffic, he pounded that wide. Ishier. There's it back down low for Schmidley. He couldn't find it. Now Schmidley is back on it, taken down. Olas-Mattsson steps into him. And finally, Englund chops at it, knocks it out. And streaking away is Timashov. Through the middle for Alex Nylander. Nylander up ahead for Asplund. Drops it back for Nylander. Centers it. Asplund on his backhand. Drops it back down to Timashov. Timashov right on the line again. For Pettersson, a long drive. Van Padelberger makes the stop. The puck's still sitting there. And finally, Van Padelberger has it.
Siegenthaler is defending in a pretty safe and area defense type way, as he's just trying to shield the Swedish forward away from the front of the net instead of pushing him out of there and in the read. And as the puck is bouncing around, it just creates more problems for Van Padelberger. If Siegenthaler turns around and shoves him out of there, there's going to be plenty of room for the goalkeeper to pick up the puck.
Dinchie up ahead for Pia Suter. Kessler with a pass that goes off a leg. Gabriel Carlson looks ahead and quickly finds Carl Grunstrom. In comes Grunstrom on it now. It's taken hard on the inboards, and now it's scooped up by Pia Suter, returnee from last year's team for Switzerland. Suter centers it, and that pass out of the reach of Kessler. Tino Kessler battles for that in the corner. Gabriel Carlson stays on it as Kessler maintains possession. And now Carlson tried to tap it there, but Meyer stole that pass and fired it wide. Marco Foro back down to Kessler. Seconds winding down here in the period. And that long point shot taken by Foro drifts wide. Now loose behind the goal in the dying seconds. Kessler centers it. And time expires here in the second period. The Swedes have a 4-goal lead after 40 minutes. That's the good news. The bad news is 2 of their top players have left the game with injury. You're watching the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship from Helsinki on TSN. Our second intermission is coming up.
Here, players compete for a chance to play at Canada's National Midget Championship, the TELUS Cup. As the biggest fans of Canada's biggest game, TELUS is helping the hockey stars of today and tomorrow. Visit hockeycanada.ca/TELUS Cup.
The Hockey Canada Network is a revolutionary app that offers coaches, players, and parents access to the best information for developing hockey players. For your phone or tablet, download this app on Google Play or iTunes. James Duffy back with Bob McKenzie for your second intermission. Get the feeling Sweden's going to play a lot of high-scoring games. The one against Canada, they can score a bunch, they can give up a bunch as well. Maple Leaf fans have had a roller coaster afternoon watching one of their prospects, William Nylander, go down, watching another one in Timoshev have a great day, 2 goals and an assist so far. Guy's taken 125th overall, but is he now considered a better prospect than his draft placement, maybe?
Well, there's no question about that. And the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs signed him as early in this season as they did, I mean, he's averaging almost 2 points per game for the Quebec Remparts in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. But the Leafs jumped right in at the beginning of the season, signed him to his entry-level contract. And he's not a big guy. He's only 5'10", 190 pounds. But he's a lot like Max Domi in that he's got an unbelievable set of legs and a great hockey backside, if you want to call it that, because he's really got the strong lower body that gives him the low center of gravity on the ice. He's not as explosive or dynamic as Max Domi, but there's some similar physical attributes in terms of the low center of gravity. And he's really stepped up in this hockey game. 2 goals, an assist. Playing with Alex Nylander and William Nylander until William Nylander, of course, left the hockey game. But Timoshev has been real good.
A junior tournament, but a couple of pro guys are the guys that have gone down for Sweden. William Nylander and Adrian Kempa have both had terrific years in the AHL. If they're out any length of time, you know, what is the impact on the lineup and their gold medal chances?
Well, it's a huge blow for Sweden. Now, we don't know at this point. I mean, especially in a hockey game where you're winning the hockey game, badly losing the war of attrition. There's no question about that. And if Kempa, the Los Angeles King prospect who plays for Ontario, does a nice job on the forecheck, and then he gets stapled against the boards. Now, no penalty on the play, and some would suggest maybe there shouldn't be, except even in international hockey, if you drive the player's head into the boards with force, that oftentimes is a major penalty. And I'll be interested to see whether there's any review on that one. The hit on Nylander was far more flagrant, and there's no question that the Swiss player is going to be facing discipline in this tournament, I would think, for that hit. No word yet on Nylander's status, but as I said, you're probably best, even if he felt okay, there's no point in putting him back in harm's way in this game. Same thing with Kempa at this point.
And if you're just getting up and you missed Gordon Ray earlier in the game, Sebastian Aho, one of their defensemen, also knocked out of this tournament after taking a puck to the throat in the Canada pre-tournament game. Well, a lot of Canadian fans already on hand. They travel well for the World Junior Hockey Tournament, getting ready. Some Americans as well for Canada-USA, which follows this one, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're on the air. The sweater is already hung in the Team Canada dressing room as they get set for their opener against the Americans. They have arrived just 2 hours and change until the drop of the puck between Canada and USA. A lot of players on both sides who know each other very well from junior hockey, including London teammates Matthew Tkachuk and Canada's Mitch Marner.
He's a guy that likes to get, dirty. So I know that in London, playing with him, he likes to, get under people's skin and, be always around the net. So I'm sure he'll do that this game too. And it's just about, making sure we don't take penalties and, don't play into his hands.
He's a little bit of a rat out there, and he gets in, people's heads. But he's a really skilled player, and he's hard to play against as well.
Be ready to play. This is going to be, this is going to be this is going to be a physical game, and there should be no surprises today.
Certainly, I'm nervous. I've got all these friends are watching, and I can't let anybody down, so I'm nervous for sure.
Been a while for Ron Wilson, first coaching gig really since he left the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we saw Marner and Tkachuk having a little bit of playful fun with each other. That line, the Marner line, and then the Americans, the Tkachuk line, or I guess you could call it the Strome line versus the Matthews line, could that match up to decide this one?
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of London Knights and Erie Otters. It's like an OHL All-Star game, this theme to it, if you will. On Canada, Marner, Strome, John Quenneville from the Brandon Wheat Kings will be playing on that line today. How well this line fares will go a long way towards determining how Canada fares in this tournament. It's going to be important for Marner and Strome, 18-year-olds, having been drafted last year, 3rd and 4th overall, to step up. On the flip side, the Americans have a very young #1 offensive line, if you want to call it that. Austin Matthews is obviously the marquee guy, plays in the Swiss League. But to have Matthew Tkachuk from the London Knights on one wing and Alex DeBrincat from the Erie Otters on the other line, it adds more fuel to that OHL rivalry between the Knights and the Otters. And you've also got Travis Dermott, Erie Otter defenseman, playing for Team Canada, as well as Christian Dvorak, the second-line center for the U.S., who plays for the London Knights. And that second line for the Americans is real good, too. Sonny Milano on one side and Colin White from BC on the other side.
If you're wondering why it's not New Year's Eve, the home country has some say in it, and they figured Sweden-Canada is a bigger draw in Finland and in Sweden than Canada-USA would be, and hence they meet right off the top here on Boxing Day. Sweden in control against Switzerland, but already losing 2 key players. We'll be back with Gordon Ray and the third. And don't forget, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the pregame for Canada-USA. Your second period scoring summary brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Same as the first. 3 goals for Sweden, 1 for Switzerland, a 6-2 lead. To call the third for you, Gordon Miller and Ray Ferraro.
So, James, we began the day talking about Toronto Maple Leaf prospect William Nylander, but after 2 periods, the story's been another Maple Leaf draft pick, Dmytro Timashov.
Yeah, Timashov, who is not a tall guy, but pretty stout. He's a thick kid, pretty strong on top of the puck. What's really impressed me today is his work rate. This is the first goal, or the second goal in the first period. Look at the effort by Timashov to get all the way to the loose puck, to save it on the power play. Alexander Nylander finds him, and Timashov makes it 2-0. On the power play early in the second period, there's no inclination from Timashov to shoot the puck here until he pivots and rifles it over top of the goaltender's right shoulder. 2 goals and an assist, 4 shots, and an excellent performance so far for Dmytro Timashov.
So the teams begin this third period 5-on-5. There were 62 penalty minutes in the opening period, none in the second. Lagesson, a shot that was off a skate. Jakob Larsson fired it back in, but the Swedes will have to tag up. That was offside. Timo Meier comes busting in. Drops it off to Pius Suter. Meier centers it, and Kessler of the bouncing puck stand on that.
Kessler's had a couple of chances. He had the breakaway goal, 25 seconds into the first period. Scored later in the first period.
Lagesson fires it wide. Here's Alex Nylander on. If you're just joining us, William Nylander knocked out of the game in the first period. And then Adrian Kempa taken out as well in the second. Both key offensive players as Timashov steals and shoots, and that tipped off the crossbar and went over the glass.
7 2-goal games for Dmytro Timashov. In the Quebec League, he plays for the Quebec Rampart. Never had a hat trick, and he's that close to his first as he rings it up over the left shoulder of Van Puddleberge, who came in relief of Gauthier Declos in the second period.
Wow, this is you navigating the Swiss language.
Oh boy, now I can exhale.
They speak 3 in that country, so it's not easy. You always have to ask when you're talking, is that the French pronunciation, the German pronunciation, or the Swiss pronunciation?
And sometimes they look at you like, how would you not know?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Of course, back at Carlson.
He had a nice goal in the second period.
Now that pass picked off by Malgin. Dennis Malgin brings it ahead for the Swiss. Malgin for Riet, shovels it back in front, deflected by Noah Rod, and a save made by Linus Soderstrom. Now the puck bounces off the stick of Marco Fora. Grundstrom brings it in. Winds around. Doing it. Centers it. And Van Puddleberge makes the save as the loose puck is scooped up by Auguste Empos. Empos in across the line. Poke check there by Gabriel Carlson. And Carlson pokes it back out. Swedes are back in action on Monday against the United States. The Swiss will play Denmark tomorrow. The Swiss have an odd schedule. They play 2 back-to-backs in the preliminary round. They've got Canada and the U.S. back-to-back later in the tournament. Now apparently coming to the Swiss as the extra skater comes on for Sweden. Timashov sets it up. Back in the corner it goes to Axel Holmstrom. To Larson. Takes a return pass and shoots, score! That might have been tipped as well. And the Swedes have their 7th goal. But Timashov got a piece of that in front.
With the 6th attacker on the ice, William Lagesson, the defenseman, was down in front of the Swiss net as well. The Swedes control the puck, and really nice pass here by Axel Holmstrom back to the point that keeps the play alive. And I think that is Lagesson actually that's going to deflect that out in the higher slot. There's the shot from Larson. It's that tip there, I believe, deflected most definitely in front of the net. Alexander Nylander is going to have his 3rd assist of the afternoon. But Lagesson went down to overload the front of the net. The Swiss just couldn't deal with the traffic. And it's 7-2.
So you think about it, 30 seconds into the game, the Swiss got a breakaway. Turned away by Soderstrom. They survive a 5-minute man advantage. There's another shot stopped by Van Puddleberge barely as it trickled towards the goal line. And Roger Carr raced back to save that. Since then, it has been all Sweden despite the loss and 2 of their top offensive players.
They're saying that goal was not deflected, and it was Jakob Larson from the point who's been given credit for it.
They changed them more often than they used to, I'll say that.
Yeah. Before,
it was etched in a stone tablet that could not be changed. I think of the Nino Niederreiter goal that knocked the Russians out in the quarters in Saskatoon. It took almost a year for the scoring of that goal to be changed.
By then, you don't even care. You're like, yeah, whatever. So here's Larson's shot from the point.
Right there. Yeah.
You can see how the puck starts to change its path. It starts to flutter along. To me, it's Lagesson's goal. And you can also see the way Van Puddleberge makes that late adjustment with his arm. But in any case, the Swedes, on a point shot, have taken the 7-2 lead.
Asplund in for it. And here's Alex Nylander with 3 assists on the afternoon. Pass picked off by Timo Meier, just about to get underway. The Finns in Belarus at Hartwall Arena, where they won gold back in 1998 to the Finns in overtime against the Russians. This is the arena for Canada. Lost to the U.S. in the gold medal game in 2004. As the Americans won their first ever World Junior gold medal. Terrific team. Ryan Kessler and Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, Mark Stewart on that team as well. Al Montoya was their goaltender that year. Harlacher sends it in. There's a 16-year-old Sidney Crosby playing for Canada. Carlson drops it back. Pettersson a long shot, knocked away by Van Padelberga. Faria. Pettersson drops it back to Gabriel Carlson. So the Swedes are without two key defensemen. Sebastian Aho, injured in the pre-tournament game against Canada, will not play in the tournament. Gustav Forsling is expected to return later. They're holding a spot for him. And then today, they lose William Nylander and Adrian Kempa, hopefully not for any length of time. And there's Kempa in the tunnel looking on. We have not seen Nylander in or around the Swedish dressing room.
The last stop on Eriksson Ek's shot. Van Padelberga wasn't too thrilled with Forsbacka Carlson coming through to wave at the rebound that was up over top of his head. He was able to glove it.
These goalies tend to play the butterfly style. The Allaire brothers, Benoit and Francois, two longtime NHL goaltending coaches. Benoit Allaire is the coach of Henrik Lundqvist and the New York Rangers. They have an academy for goaltenders in Switzerland they run every summer. Siegenthaler a shot kicked away by Soderstrom. There have been some good Swiss netminders over the years. Several playing in the NHL right now.
There always seem to be at every Olympic tournament or every World Championship some performance in the Swiss goal that made you stand up and take notice. Whether it was Martin Gerber in the Olympics or...
Siegenthaler a sharp angle shot off that rush and the rebound skipped away from impulse. What Sweden's waiting for is a breakthrough performance from a goalie at this level.
Think back to the gold medal in Calgary, and in that 1-0 win on the Mika Zibanejad overtime winner, they outshot the Russians just by a mile.
41-15, I think.
They didn't need a goalie. It seemed, you know, I think he, if memory serves correct, Gord, he made a terrific stop right at the end of regulation time, yes, which would have been almost a disservice to the game, as the Swedes really deserved to win.
Penalty coming down to Sweden as Glauser has it. And picked up by Hischier. Back to Pia Suter, who takes a return pass. Suter walks in and shoots, and that was blocked by Olas Mattsson. Suter has it back for Meyer. Timo Meyer playing the point now for Switzerland. Drops it back to Suter. Suter goes rink wide. Glauser flipped it wide. Hischier up. Glauser. Long possession here with the penalty coming. Suter drops it down. Schmidli with a shot right through the crease. And now Kinchy plays it back. Suter fires. And finally, that's knocked up and out by Soderstrom. And the Swiss will go to the power play with come back with Sweden leading 7-2 here in the third.
Here's the penalty to England, who is much bigger and stronger than the 16-year-old Hischier. He just shoves him from behind, and England, who goes about 45 pounds heavier than Hischier, goes to the penalty box.
England expected to be a big part of the defense for even more so now with Aho out. Centering pass to Kessler, couldn't corral the bouncing puck. Grundstrom plays it to the line, but not out. And Meyer tees it up and fires. He rattled it high off the glass and out of play, and the face-off will come outside.
Well, a disappointing afternoon for the Swiss, who started quite well. They looked like they had some energy and some belief. They had the breakaway early in the game. They gave up the goal to William Nylander early, about a minute and a half in, but really I liked much of their first period, and all of a sudden it got away from them. They certainly spending about 12 minutes penalty killing in the first 25 catches up to you a little bit for sure.
Getting two players ejected. Teams, of course, can dress 20 skaters here as opposed to the 18 in the NHL. Roger Carr. Back to Siegenthaler. And a 10 to go on this power play. Meyer drops it down. The pass skips off the stick of Pia Suter. You think about the difference that a player like Kevin Fiala would make to the Swiss. Just put him on the power play with the likes of Meyer and Noah Rod. And all of a sudden you get the makings of a top 3 forward group that can really do some damage. In comes Suter. Drops it off to Meyer. Back to Siegenthaler. Pia Suter drops it down. Meyer centers it. And heading the one-timer to Zempo. Racing in short-handed again. Luka. You mentioned one of those many Arizona Coyote prospects who are here in Helsinki for this tournament. Malgin works his way in the backhand shot. He flipped that wide. Malgin's got those nifty hands and just missed.
He's really shown some excellent creativity. Look at the strength as he gets away from Luka on the board.
Now Malgin back with it. Drops down to 4. The penalized player, England, back on the ice. No shots on goal for the Switzerland power play. They get one right at the end as Soderstrom hangs on to that.
So Dennis Malgin has shown today to be the most creative of the Swiss forwards. He takes a little pass from Riyad. He just shovels it wide of the goal on the right-hand side, and as the puck went up the boards, he still chased it down, made a nice move to continue the power play.
Faceoff was won by Axel Holmstrom. Not related to Thomas Holmstrom, of course, a Detroit draft pick back in the mid-1990s. Now Axel takes a high stick from Thurkov. And the referee telling him to play on here and actually kind of admonished Holmstrom for not playing on.
He turned around to yell at the ref, but it was the linesman. The linesman looked at him like, what do you want me to do? And Holmstrom takes a high stick to the mouth, and he's going to the locker room. Man, it's been a long afternoon for the Swedes.
We saw Eriksson Ek get cut earlier and return to the game. Turcotte brings it in now for the Swiss. Dario Meyer. Siegenthaler long shot. Soderstrom save. Rebound bounces back in front to Turcotte. And he's turned away as well. Here's Siegenthaler with it.
Very calmly, Soderstrom, his best moments of the game, really. The point shot, he left a bit of a rebound and squared up and make the second stop.
Picked up by England. Lead pass to Timashov. Dmytro Timashov hit a crossbar here earlier in the period. He already got 3 points tonight. Guess I can say that. Just past 6 o'clock local time here in Helsinki. And in the other rink, Finland underway against Belarus. Alex Nylander taken down. That'll be a penalty against Switzerland's Chris Schmidli.
Schmidli goes to the penalty box as Nylander gets some room in the middle of the ice. Pretty nifty hands and backs up Schmidli, and there the stick goes into his feet. Here's the high stick. Oh, and you can see the Swiss player, Thurkov, knows that he's gotten the stick up on Holmstrom. Holmstrom turns around and yells at the linesman. So Holmstrom getting some repairs in the Swedish locker room. Coach Rickard Gronberg is down there trying to organize guys for the power play.
He's lost 3 guys who all play on it.
And who would play on the first unit.
Timashov, back for Pettersson. Across he goes. Alex Nylander at drive. Goes off the skate of Edson Harlacher. Timashov. Looks out to Eriksson Ek. Back to Timashov for Pettersson. Alex Nylander back to Pettersson. Winds and shoots. That hit his teammate Eriksson Ek in the midsection. And Van Pedelberga gets the glove down and hangs on.
Eriksson Ek's got the cotton in his nose from the hit in the first period. He's trying to shake off this shot that hit him from the point. And it's a good position. Oops. Looks like he's okay. Pettersson had a couple of goals that...
Oh, look out, that long shot tipped by Eriksson. And Pavelberg down. Eriksson still hacking at the rebound.
He had a couple. Pettersson's the guy that shot 2 pucks through the net against Canada the other night. I don't know. I mean, oh, here it goes.
Now steal by Kessler, second breakaway of the game. Tino Kessler in, score! A short-handed goal for Tino Kessler, and it's 7-3. They needed to do that the first time. 30 seconds into the game, we had the breakaway stopped by Soderstrom.
He went to the backhand the first time, and the puck bounces up over top of Pettersson, and it's a 100-foot breakaway or so. Kessler slides it underneath the left pad of Soderstrom. Just squeaks it underneath. He's got a couple of goals here this evening, and it's now 7-3.
The question for the Swedes, you'd have to think, will be goaltending.
Well, we saw Soderstrom the other night against Canada. He gave up a boatload in the second period and was pulled. They went to their third goalie. Felix Sandstrom, who you mentioned, Gord, has not been well, had a bit of a stomach virus here and hasn't played in about a week now. Is supposed to be their starter, but now he hasn't played in a while.
Sweden has 5 shots in the power play so far, but the Swiss have scored the goal short-handed.
In the post play by number 22, Tino Kessler, 51-57.
Lindblom with it. Plays it across to Gabriel Carlson with a shot, and that's fought off by Van Pottelberg and sent wide. Larson chips it ahead. Gunstrom trying to move it, and now a chance for Carr. Roger Carr works in, slides that back in front, but Riyad had been taken down. And Siegenthaler with a rolling puck fires it back down to the Swedish zone. 15 seconds to go in the power play. And brings it in. Christopher Ed wheels in. Poke check by Forge. Tries to jam it back in front. Jens Luca with a chance. And Van Pottelberg hangs on. 3 seconds to go in the power play.
Well, it would be tough for Rickard Gronberg to feel very good, I would say, even with a 7-3 lead here. You can only imagine his thoughts must be divided to the players that are not playing for him now, the players that he doesn't have available. You have to take, and certainly been around tournament hockey long enough, you take a longer view, not just the game here. And you know, it's good news that Adrian Kempa is standing behind in the hallway, but you know, as you mentioned, Gord, we haven't seen William Nylander. It looks like Axel Holmstrom's coming back. They can hope for good news on Gustav Forsling, that they can add him to their roster for the second game. But it's a terrifically talented team that's now all of a sudden got some health questions.
7 shots on goal for the Swedes in the last power play. Picked up by Timo Meier with a shot, and Soderstrom hangs on. A little more pushing and shoving breaks out. 6:16 to go here in the third period. Tino Kessler has his second, and the Swiss trail 7-3. Canadian players looking on. Lawson Krause on the left. Checking out the action. Team USA players watching from their corner as well. And Canada and the United States will face off at 8 o'clock local time, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. A matchup we have always loved to watch. One that seems to always provide twists and turns. And of course, last year, Canada's win over the U.S. on New Year's Eve set up the draw for the Canadians. The United States finished second in the group and wound up getting Russia in the quarterfinals, a game they lost. Canada had a much easier road to the gold medal game.
You know, even, Gord, even a win like today for the Russians, you know, the 2-point win as opposed to the 3-point win, somehow it gets lost in the tournament until you get towards the end and you go, oh, wait a minute, this is the way these crossovers start to match up. So much of the way the latter half of the tournament can play out is a result of maybe a break to catch somewhere.
Dennis Malgin's going to go off, and now he's face-washing Andrea Glauser, and now maybe a bit of a butt in there. Look out.
Seriously, if Lagesson is going to go and taunt at Malgin, you're going to get punched in the mouth. I got news for you. It's just going to happen. So, clearly a penalty here on Malgin. He's going to flip him back over top. So they get tied up, and now they're going to wrestle around a little bit. And the initial penalty's been made, or the call has been, look, he's saying, like, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. 7-3. You might take another minor. What difference does it make now? But he only got 2.
Got a free one.
There you go.
Swedes are 2 for 4 in the power play this evening.
The Swiss have been unrattled here discipline-wise most of the afternoon, I would say, and they've spent so much of a game where they have to play almost perfectly to be in it. They've been shorthanded. They just torpedo their chances.
Timashov hit across the line. Pins it back to Pettersson. In for Alex Nylander. Plays it back to Pettersson. There's Nylander with a drive, and that goes off the leg of Siegenthaler and out.
Well, Nylander's moved into that high left-hand side where his brother would likely be playing, and so confident there. He wants the puck. He's always available for it, and almost demands the puck comes back to him. He showed well here in his first game of the tournament.
Larson swings it across to Carlson. Gabriel Carlson back for Larson. Forced back at Carlson. Holmstrom tries to play it back. The Swiss have a short-handed goal here in the third period. In comes Dario Meyer. He's poke checked. And Axel Holmstrom back out for the Swedes after being cut earlier. Pivots back in the corner. Drops it back for Larson. Rossi goes to Gabriel Carlson. Lindblom looking there for force back at Carlson. Axel Holmstrom centers it. Lindblom force back at Carlson. Larson back to Gabriel Carlson. Force back at Carlson. Winds across the top to Gabriel Carlson. Force back at Carlson. Larson. Now the centering pass for Lindblom. Walks in. Got poke check neatly there by Simon Kinchy. Larson, though, keeps it alive and drops it back to Gabriel Carlson. Centering pass. Lindblom shoots. And it bounces off the goaltender's mask, I believe, and up another play.
Well, Lindblom plays a lot of the power play right on top of the crease, and as the Swedes are zipping the puck around against the Swiss group of penalty killers, it's totally gassed. He's got the puck 10 feet in front of the net, but he wants to slide it across for Forsbacka. Carlson, for a one-timer, it comes right back to him, and he flips it up on top of the netting. But a fifth-round Philadelphia draft pick, Lindblom, plays that front of the net very well on the Swedish power play.
Olas Mattsson trying to hold the line for the Swedes, but cannot. Timashov back with it. 10 seconds to go in the power play. And Marcus Pettersson for Timashov. Dmytro Timashov with 2 goals and an assist so far in the afternoon. Steps around that check. Still has it from a sharp angle. Shoots. And Malgin out of the penalty box. Chops it back to Kinchy. Simone Kinchy. Had a stick lifted by Marcus Pettersson. And Pettersson swings it across to Olas Mattsson. Adam Olas Mattsson, a Calgary draft pick, centers it, and they score! Might have been Asplund in front or got off a Swiss defender. Regardless, it's 8-3 in favor of the Swedes.
Adam Olas Mattsson is going to shovel this puck from the left wing to the front of the net. He's got Asplund going to the front of the net, but this is going to deflect off of Kessler's stick into the net, and Adam Olas Mattsson will get credit for the goal. We talked about him a little bit in the pre-tournament game, Gordon. He's a kid you probably should root for. He has stayed at home as he's tried to develop his career. but he stayed at home to help with a younger brother who's bound to a wheelchair. His mom passed away from cancer a couple of years ago, and he's doing his best by his family to try and help out. Good for Adam Olesmatsen to have a goal here in his first World Junior Tournament.
They've given the goal to Asplund. That's another one they're going to need to change.
That one clearly goes off of 22 Kessler's stick.
We're out the video between the discipline reviews, the scoring changes. Back comes Malgin the other way for the Swiss. Malgin works in and shoots short side. Just missed. Larson knocks that down, inside 3 to go. And we've got another penalty behind the play. It'll be a slashing call. Post Capturing is brought to you by the Home Depot. For the ultimate power play, come to the place with the top brands at unbeatable prices. Let's do this. Noah Rod goes off for the slash for the Swiss. The Swedes enjoying even more time on the power play now with 2:49 to go in the third. Swedes are 2 for 5 on the man advantage, which includes a 5-minute power play and over a minute of 5-on-3. And they did not score on either of those.
57-11.
Larson fires it around, looking for Lindblom. Now it's brought back by Harlacher. The play's offside at the Swedish line. We think they got the wrong guy, Ray.
Well, we've had some experience with this afternoon, although they did get it right eventually. So Riat has the slash on Lagesson. Noah Rod actually pulled the stick out of the way of the other guy, so that's 2 minutes for being in the vicinity.
Wrong place, wrong time, and once again the penalty box has captured an innocent man, as it did some 500 times when you played.
That may be one of the few times that they've got the wrong guy.
Olesmatsen back with it. For Timashov to Pettersson. Marcus Pettersson clean shoots. He was trying to find the stick there of Asplund. And Olesmatsen has it back to Timashov. Cross ice pass to Pettersson. Look back for the deflection. Missed Alex Nylander that time. Timashov trying to get to Pettersson for the deflection. Timashov to Pettersson, has a look. Nylander drifts in. Pettersson fires and he hammered it wide. Olesmatsen back with it. Down to Alex Nylander. Still the Swiss regroup against Denmark tomorrow, as Timashov plays it back to Olesmatsen. Back to Timashov. Tried to drop it back. The pass intercepted and sent down the ice by Julien Privé.
They can start by staying out of the penalty box. I mean, their penalty killers must be worn right down to the bone here. They've been on the ice so much in this hockey game.
The night game tomorrow night, so a little bit of a break for the Swiss. A longer rest. Of course, back to Carlson. Knocks it off to Gabriel Carlson. Centering pass for Lindblom. Shoots and a pad save by Van Heidelberg. Inside a minute to go in the third period. In behind the goal, it's picked out and played ahead to Hempos. He lost the puck before back to Carlson to Lindblom. In, shoots at the goalpost. Rang it off the crossbar. Thought he'd scored. As far as you know, the crossbars don't have holes in them. Of course, back to Carlson. Drops it back to Larson. And the puck goes off the meshing and out of play.
Just a couple of minutes ago, a terrific chance in front of the net for Lindblom. And he flipped it up over the net. This one hits the top of the crossbar over top of Van Heidelberg. The Swedes will look to run this last 18 seconds or so off the clock and try and get some information on what the roster will look like going forward.
Back in action against the United States on Monday. Larson taken in hard there by Turkov. And And a chippy game ends with a chippy play. And some bad blood between the Swedes and the Swiss as the Swedes walk away with an 8-3 win but lose a couple of key players. We'll await the status. You can see Ronberg not necessarily overjoyed with what happened here this afternoon.
Right from the very beginning, it was pretty clear the Swiss were going to try and play a very physical style of play. It got away from them. They lost 2 players to major penalties in the first period and game misconducts.
And time now for the player of the game ceremony. Then you'll have the Swedish national anthem.
MM-kilpailujen yhteistyökumppani Remington palkitsee kummankin joukkueen parhaat pelaajat. The best player of each team will be awarded by Remington, partner of the 2016 IIHF Ice Hockey Under-20 World Championship. Molempien joukkueiden palkinnot jakaa the prizes for both teams is presented by Anders Lidén, Ruotsin Suomen suurlähettiläs, the ambassador of Sweden in Finland. Ja Sveitsin paras pelaaja, the best player of Switzerland, number 22, Tino Kessler.
Kessler scores twice. He's the player of the game for the Swiss.
Ruotsin paras pelaaja, the best player of Team Sweden, number 17, Dimitro Timashov.
Just missed out in a hat trick. Finds up with 2 goals and an assist. And picks up the slack left behind by the loss of Nylander and Adrian Kempa.
Hyvä yleisö, seuraavana vuorossa voittajajoukkue Ruotsin kansallishymni. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of winning team Sweden.
The 2016 IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship from Helsinki, Finland is brought to you by Esso. The Esso brand has fueled Canada's love of hockey for over 30 years. By RBC, let nothing get in the way of your someday. By Nike, official gear of Canada's national hockey team. And by TELUS, the biggest fans of Canada's biggest game. The 2016 IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship from Helsinki, Finland is brought to you by Chevrolet's new Power of Play hockey program.
New Year's Eve comes 5 days early, the traditional end of the year, this time Boxing Day. Canada and USA, earliest meeting in 20 years between the two arch rivals. We're on the air with the pregame show, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, just under 1 hour from now. We've seen Sweden twice now, and there have been 24 goals scored in those 2 games. The 7-6 loss to Canada in pre-tournament action, the 8-3 win today. But at what cost? We'll get you updates on Kempa and Nylander when we have them here on TSN. See you in an hour.